here for the future of this series, as a lot of those key priority mid lane picks like the Orianna and the Ryze have been fearlessed away. So there's nothing that really screams must pick here, specifically for the solo laners of either of these teams. So might give more emphasis over to the bot laners in the first phase of picks. There's that Jarvan ban coming through from ThunderTalk like we talked about.
Holding up the TT flag there as well as seeing the crowd. We'll see some motivation there, but big jungle will be left on the table for other games, which is maybe even more terrifying. We'll see what the final ban is going to be by JDG if they want to continue focusing out some of these potential solo laners.
Nocturne open. Nocturne is open and available, has been banned in the last 2 games of the series so far, and although it wouldn't jump TT out to an early lead, it would give them something akin to a Vi that we saw from Junhao in game number 1, where you spike at 6 and can really start playmaking from there on out. But instead, they're going to do exactly what we talked about, which is focus down on the bot lane. Seraphine snagged up, and Ashe likely going to be its desired pairing, though JDG do have the opportunity to take it away themselves. Ashe is still good with champions like the Braum if they want to early pick it.
And last time TT grabbed this one, it didn't even go with the Ashe. So see if they want to continue that trend, which is a weird trend.
It is.
JDG snipe it away. They take it away, and it will be the Nocturne that you were talking about as well.
All right, so Seraphine going to be left with another 80 carry. Wonder who that's going to be. Yanara is still open. Corki is still open. Those are really the only ones. I mean, if you have another high range ADC that you have in mind, that could also work. Senna is an on special, so they're going to just instantly lock that one away for them in the bot lane. ThunderTalk making a statement with On and Feather getting the first 2 picks.
I appreciate it. Picking up this combo again. And it's a pretty big one. I love some of the combinations it can have in lane itself, but also some of the stacking and scaling that you're going to have as a team. Wukong coming in once again as well for Junhao.
That sustain going to be really crucial for Junhao in these later fights where he can get multiple spell rotations off, but you have to get to that point first, Mazel. And so the early game for TT's bot lane going to be where I look at as a point of concern, because although you do have the range, you do have the poke, the damage profile on champions like Senna is not on the same level as your traditional ADC, and certainly isn't on the level of a champion like Ashe. So I think early on, JDG should be looking to leverage this 2v2 power of the Ashe paired up with the Lulu, now locked in here for Vampire. Get that priority, give JunJia a nice clean early game to get level 6, and from there can really start to open up skirmishing.
Yeah, this is at least this combo of the Seraphine and the Wukong, something that TT picked up in their last series together at least, and I think that's something that can be really powerful in the skirmish if we see those roams coming through for Feather, which has been integral to how they move, but it's going to be hard to kind of crack into that bot lane now in that 2v2. I'm very curious what influence we get from outside of lane there, but now we move forward in the draft. We already see the LeBlanc ban by JDG. It's gonna be the Aurora ban by TT, so full mid lane focus.
There are a bunch of options open for ThunderTalk if they want to try and respond to the global or semi-global pressure that the Nocturne provides. Pantheon is not on the table because of the Wukong lock-in, but you still have access to things like the Talia, would also fit really nicely with TT's poke that they seem to have going on for themselves, and just gives you that responsiveness to JunJia if he wants to look for a side lane play. So I advocate for that to be a pick. It looks like it will be unbanned by JDG here, as their last takeaway will be the Azir, possibly opening up for something a bit more short range like the Sylas to give over to HongQ.
Yeah, dude. Oh man, there's so
or
many
Mel.
choices potentially. Yeah, I mean the Mel has been something that's been talked about or moved around. The Gwen is the final ban.
Yeah. I think Mel could be an opening here for HongQ if he just wants to respond to that encore, just rebuttal that and give your team another way to open up a fight. But does come with its own inherent risks, is immobile, could be immediately engaged onto by a Wukong, as it looks like JDG are going to give HongQ over the Victor Hover. So more team fighting power given over by locking that one in, but does have the same weaknesses that we elaborated on with the Mel. Immobile, very susceptible to ganks, and does mean HongQ has to mind his spacing in the laning phase.
Junjia's going to have to also be really careful for how he engages and when he engages, because there's nobody that's going to be flying in with him, at least right now. It will be the Sylas locked in for TT.
So they do have the response with the global pressure. Sylas going to be able to steal the paranoia and then make plays with that ultimate for himself. But I do genuinely wonder how often you're going to be catching these JDG members off on a side lane, especially as the game goes on. This is shaping up to be a very stock standard death ball comp, and it seems like TT are trying to match them in that front. Sion lock-in going to come through here and just gives you a lot of infinite stacking. You've got the Senna with the souls, and then you've got Sion with the soul furnace. So late game seems to be ThunderTalk really want to lock in. And speaking of lock-ins, Xiaoxu gonna add the Shen to his unorthodox picks. Tabe cooking him up another meal, and he is devouring that.
I was begging for somebody to be there with JunJia. Somebody's got to be his right-hand man when he hits that button and goes all in. Now you got the Stand United. Now you get a taunt that comes out on the other end of it. Now you have that setup engage with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. JDG have put up a great draft.
So it seems like both of these teams have a very similar style that they're aiming for here. Mazel, team fighting, scaling, late game is the name of this third match to decide who will go 2-1 up in the series. But JDG, I feel the added bonus of the double global ultimates really does open up side lane picks to be a potential option. They can get things done before a fight starts to try and give themselves numbers advantages. Whereas for ThunderTalk, I feel like their options are a little bit more limited. They really have to hope and pray that the early game is quiet so that they can get those stacking champions to a position where they can really rev up toward those 25+ minute team fights.
They got to get there. They got to make sure everything is fine and dandy into that point, and that is something that has been a little bit of a topsy-turvy issue so far in this series, as we've seen some steady advantages gained, but then sometimes ripped away, especially in the last game that we did see. But an important one nonetheless for both JDG and TT. TT making the run through the play-ins to make it to this point through IG and JDG. This is the first time we see them here in the playoffs, and now they look alive and well. It is game number 3 between JDG and TT.
Leashing in the big 2026? What world are we living in, Lennon?
That's crazy. That's good. That's actually insane.
I have not seen that all year
like I just
long.
got teleported back in time.
You know, bring that back. As a jungler, I think we should have our solo laners and or bot lane, depending on where you're starting.
Bring back level 1s while you're at it.
Nah, we'll talk about that.
Don't you remember when like every game was decided by level 1s? It was great.
Yeah, I don't
Good
miss
times.
it. You know,
always a good time.
I have
Anyways.
been enjoying the lack of level 1 invades in my jungle so far since we've been in 2026 Mazel. It's nice and peaceful. I can actually play my game.
Oh, okay. So that's the goal. All right, I just wanted to make sure. Just want to double check. It's going to be the same side stars for both junglers. A bit of a faster clear coming through here for JunJia. He's already on to his second half.
And Heru taken down to about 200 HP right out of the gate here. Just the nature of the range versus melee matchups. We can see that Junhao, is he going to W? Or no, he's actually waiting for the ward to go down. Now he wants to look for an angle onto HongQ.
HongQ steps back up now as well, and here comes Heru. The double flashes. HongQ able to sidestep out of the CC, and he is fine.
HongQ downloading some schmoves on the Victor. Does manage to get away, and like you said, it's both flashes expended from TT's mid-jungle duo, so will limit the playmaking opportunity specifically for Heru, as I feel like holding on to that flash just so you can close the gap in this range versus melee matchup going to be very important. Now will be denied.
Ooh, On not able to connect the root there. That's huge. We got to see some of the win rates there. My God, almost 100% win rate for Gala. 4-0 on the pick so far this split as well. And we were talking about the Shen coming out of the draft. 16th champion by Xiaoxu, by the way, which is up there with even Knight, who's playing a ridiculous amount of champions this split. So it's pretty cool to see them kind of flex their muscles, maybe work on some of the things that they worked on during the downtime. But now is game time, and we do see the second clear starting to come through.
Shen, a deceptively strong lane bully as well, so is going to give a lot of priority over to JDG in these first early levels. If JunJia wants to make plays like this, you can see it trying to make an angle work where he can invade the Raptors, but Feather with a nice read does roam and stops that play dead in its tracks.
There's some of that bruisering you're talking about. Keshi going to be worse for wear on that trade. Gala looking for an angle on. Let's have some decent damage. I can push him off the wave since Feather is not around. It's pretty nice. Maybe try to deny some souls. Looks like he's going to be able to step up and grab that one. A taunt comes through. Keshi in some trouble. One auto. Might just do it. He did save the flash. That is hair-raising.
Certainly is. Keshi going to have to reset just because he's also low on mana, so the cost of going for the shield could be debatable. If he doesn't have enough mana for that, he's not going to be able to live. So he has to teleport, gets back to the lane, and this is just kind of the nature of how I feel the matchup is going to go. Sion usually is just kind of a punching bag in the laning phase with most matchups, but the real appeal of this champion is how little resources he needs to function in mid to late, and that is the big focus for both of these drafts.
Oh, look at this angle here. HongQ leaning to the other side, though, so Junhao would have to cover a lot of distance, but he wants to make a play in mid.
Side.
He wants to get Heru a little bit of resources, a little bit of safety in that mid lane. His advance will be not for anything, but he will collapse back down on the bot side. But guess who also is towards this bot side? It's JunJia.
A level up, too. So if this comes to a 3v3, I heavily favor JDG. It
I
won't
like the
end
early
up,
heal.
Yeah, won't end up getting to that point, so no blood going to be shed on the bot side, and this is a good thing, particularly for JunJia. He's very close to that level 6, has completed 2 full clears, and now he gets that bot side crab spawning in a little bit, will be able to unlock the paranoia for more playmaking.
Still almost a full level up over Junhao here. As, that's going to feel pretty tough. He could just take the Gromp and get level 6, and now he has paranoia.
He's paranoia, and he's immediately floating toward the mid lane. We saw Heru get a bit more aggressive, trade onto HongQ, force that reset from the Victor, but now because Nocturne ult is available, he has to back away, has to consider that his jungler is still only level 4 at this point, Mazel. And
yeah, that's so tough, man.
Really rough early start here for Junhao, a player who his success has been defined by the first 10 minutes and his ability to really dominate in skirmishes and be ahead of his counterpart. Now he is put significantly on the back foot. So how are ThunderTalk going to be able to recover from something that hasn't really been an issue so far over their last couple of series?
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. JDG using a little bit of TT's methods against them here with the full push prio in mid and bot lane, leaning into the early dragons here again for another game where JDG were behind in last game and were able to sniff that one out. Early dragon, Cloud Dragon, not too shabby, but now they have plenty of time to reassign positions up towards this top side of the map to get ready for the grubs.
You could see that Junhao still isn't level 6, is only sitting on a phage as well, so very weak in the team fights. Even if he does get level 6, I feel like he is going to lack a lot of that value that we're hoping for from this pick, just to engage fights and to get that damage consistently across. I do not think he will really have that opportunity. So I think TT might actually just be straight up forced to give this one up. I mean, JunJia ult plus Xiaoxu ult just is too much for me, in my opinion. If I'm ThunderTalk, I'm not getting through that. That snap engage is just too strong at this point in the game.
Taking a look at the map state as well. Gala had used the hawk shot, saw the backing coming through from Junhao, and realizing he's probably coming down towards bot side. We see pings in the jungle, at least from the blue side And it does mean now that we will have some mobility out of the bot lane itself. And some push coming through from JDG's side of things and keeping the back from on away. Oh. Well, Arcane Storm usage.
Pretty low. This has been a very rough laning phase for the Sylas so far. This has been just frankly, I think the worst 8 minutes for the mid-jungle duo of ThunderTalk that we have highlighted throughout this series so far, Mazel. And I think now the burden kind of falls on Keshi, on and Feather, the scaling elements of this team, to really pick up the pieces and try to recoup their losses.
And I think in one of those ways, like, this is a realization of, is this going to be a make or break moment for TT in terms of their potential to live out this stream, right? And like, it's one of those moments where the IG series was incredible. It was awesome to see, and it was an incredible moment for TT to make that lasting damage done. But can they put it together when they are backs against the wall is the big question. Enchanted Crystal Arrow will hit from across town, but nobody is there to engage. It will be a 2-for-1 grub trade, I do believe, as well.
It's a lot of resources expended by ThunderTalk to get members up toward that top lane, and one grub, probably the reward not worth the effort it took to actually get to that point. They still will be happy for getting one grub. I think this is going to be especially nice for Keshi, who is looking to have that side lane pressure on the Scion, but I mean, look at JDG's comp. You've got a Shen, you've got a Victor, and you've got an Ashe. These are all lanes that have been pushing in their counterparts pretty significantly under their turret. So adding on 2 grubs to that just means that they will trickle in gold throughout the remainder of the laning phase.
And there's something else that's helping power JDG at this point. It's something that I've been very excited and happy to see throughout this split since coming over, at least I guess this year for JDG. But it's this mid-jungle duo on the other side that we're going to finally talk about a little bit. 147 games played from the LCP into the LPL together. It's a decent amount over the short track record they've been together, but it's been a lot of important games played as well. And I think it's so incredibly important to highlight the synergies we've seen from this team. I mean, they were shocking the LPL in their first split coming in with how potent they could be. And we've seen some fluctuations in that, but the lethality is still there. And now with JunJia having this advantage, I want to see him push the buttons.
And I love how HongQ is also maneuvering around this laning phase, right? Because we're seeing him just constantly push Heru under his turret. The ability for Sylas to impact the map is basically non-existent, as, speaking of impacts on the map, both junglers are kind of posturing and shadowing around this bot side. Paranoia is available for JunJia. Hasn't had an excuse yet to use it. Hasn't really needed to use it so far, as JDG have now built a 1k gold lead with no kills and just the objectives to kind of do the talking. So I feel making the good decision to not go for unnecessary plays, just allowing for these gold leads to balloon slightly over time.
Yeah. And that's something that is a bit of an adaptation from JDG, because this is also a team that would love to force early fights, even if they were losing, to try to find that advantage because they feel so comfortable playing when ahead. But this is maybe an adaptation, a little bit of a change, a little bit of growth from the team of JDG. About 10 seconds away from a dragon would be number 2 for JDG as a whole. Heru taking an early fight against JunJia. Will not get the reconnect here, and a lot of momentum coming for JDG and TT into this fight.
This really reeks of desperation from ThunderTalk. Heru is at
Got
half
the wild
HP.
growth.
On is disconnected too.
He's going to try to use the wild growth here to get the double knockup, and they do. That's the triple knockup, but the Stand United coming in, and they found the back line. They took him down. Feather is executed from his team, and now TT are left with nothing. Junhao goes down too. Heru barely escapes. It's going to be everything going JDG's way. 2,000 gold up 12 minutes in.
Felt like a Hail Mary play right from the beginning. ThunderTalk trying to get something in their control, leverage some kind of power around this bot side river, but Xiaoxu is there to respond. Stand United keeps JunJia alive, and all of JDG have made their way onto the fight. It's a 2-for-0 and a second dragon. This is the cleanest early game we've seen from both of these teams so far, in my opinion.
Xiaoxu with the clutch play here. I mean, it literally made Feather dizzy as they try to turn it back around. He fully just whiffs the encore out there, at least onto one, but the Stand United comes out as well, and Feather's just dead to rights, just surgically executed from the team. And then you have the nice double combo there. Heru does end up finding a little bit of an escape, but this lead is feeling very dominant from JDG.
This is a tough position for ThunderTalk to be in. We talk about the lack of early power, particularly from this bot side, as Gala is looking aggressively onto the Senna. Will chunk on to about half HP, but On and Feather can't realistically bail you out of any precarious situations in this game. I mean, they're looking to scale. They're looking to be as cordial as possible until the Senna has apt stacks to really make her mark in team fights. And we are a very long ways away from that. So I think JDG focusing down on these dragons, looking for an early soul to try and sort of counterbalance those late game threats is a really good strategy, and one that is so far working out. They've got the 2 dragons and they're ballooning their gold leads both as a team and individually with every passing minute.
And it's just so oppressive when they are ahead. That's when JunJia feels the best. That's when these combos really feel tough to deal with. And Gala is going to be feeling it with the Enchanted Crystal Arrows too. Finding those preemptive engages. Getting to these first, second items are going to be some important breakpoints. On has completed the static shiv, so it gives him a little bit of wave clear there as well. We won't see Gala hit it just yet because he did stomp off for the boots, and his will finally get the back off there for the Kraken Slayer. And we still have a timer coming up, 30 seconds, 35 or so for the Rift Herald, and still a lot leaning in favor of JDG.
They're moving up their bot lane to the mid lane to get this priority ahead of that objective, like you said, Mazel. But it feels like all of this setup, all of this work that ThunderTalk are looking to kind of put on this top side in order to play for this Rift Herald can be undone with the triple global ultimates here for JDG. If they find one single member of ThunderTalk on their lonesome, caught in transition, they can snap engage onto that and immediately get themselves a numbers advantage. So TT have to be very cautious about their movements, and it seems like they really want this objective. They're moving Keshi toward this area. They need an objective.
This
they
is
need
the
something
power,
to grab
though.
onto.
I mean, Xiaoxu, he can just always join the fight. They're going to bring the Stand United combo. They're going to immediately eviscerate the backline. The burn is enough from HongQ to take down On, and soon to follow is Junhao. That's going to be a double kill for the star mid laner of JDG. And now they're going to move forward to the top side here. Heru doesn't stand a chance, making a triple kill for HongQ.
Flash Shadow Dash, and HongQ going to pick that one up. All of ThunderTalk, except for Keshi, go down. Feather will also live to tell the tale, but JDG are running away with this game. Herald is going to be in their back pocket as well. Tier 1 in mid should fall. The wave clear from the Scion not efficient enough. Gala.
A little damage there. A little peppering. Throwing him, throwing a couple of rocks at him. He's a giant wall, but, throwing some rocks. It is JDG, though, really taking control of this series. And you were wondering how much gas TT had in the tank, how much thunder they had left to talk, but it's JDG who are quieting that now. HongQ and JunJia, incredible combos with Xiaoxu over top.
And JunJia again surviving all of the initial bursts that ThunderTalk are attempting to put onto him. He manages to get out. And it just seems like TT are grasping at straws here. They're looking to make plays onto Dragon. They're looking to make plays onto Herald. They're trying to be proactive, but the response from JDG is just too good. The Stand United to protect JunJia, the paranoia timings, and everything is going their way. This feels like a game that is only going to get harder. Dragon is up in 20 seconds, and TT have no right even looking in the general direction of this bot side river.
Yeah, and that being said, it's just going to be such an early soul fight if it is JDG. They're able to secure this right now as well. They've done a really good job these last 2 games putting that focus into that side of things, because that's a little bit troublesome. It's going to be the stolen Stand United taken through Enchanted Crystal Arrow. He flashed into it. Oh no, that is a troublesome situation to be in for TT as they lose Junhao. Now they're going to lose a little bit more. Keshi getting a little bit lower. Xiaoxu hits a 3-man. Massive Shadow Dash coming through from JDG. He does die for it, but instantly traded back with another kill to JDG.
Xiaoxu with a pop-off play, triple Shadow Dash, Titanic Hydra proc, eviscerates the ThunderTalk backline, and JDG win yet another fight. Soul Point will be acquired. The last outer turret for TT will be taken down in bot lane as well. The Herald, to add insult to injury, should be able to complete that charge. But before we can get back to that, we have to go live, and Junhao had absolutely no right stepping up to this area. Stand United from Heru on the Silas does end up saving him, but
That's
only
so
for a couple more seconds. Follows him over the wall with the flash, and I just want to witness the chunk damage from this Shen yet again. Let's all take a moment to appreciate this.
It's pretty huge. Ooh. Laser underneath everything, just on top of it. It's so incredibly impressive. And I'm not gonna lie, that might be one of the most heartbreaking flashes I've ever seen. Junhao's, that just hurts, and that just is maybe a trendsetter here in this series. JDG, I guess they just needed a cold slap of TT water on their face for game number 1 to wake up into the series.
They needed the gold cards from Tabe. Mazel,
I just want you to know, every time you say that, I'm just imagining Tabe sitting in the back room. It's very small, just literally throwing cards at his players. I don't know why that's what's stuck in my head, but that's what is there.
Hey, it's bullseyes every single time. The temple is the target.
Just hitting him on the forehead every time. Just boom. Doesn't say anything. Speaking of, we don't need to say anything more about TT because their grave is already set for them. It's going to be Junhao trying to escape a beautiful encore, but he still dies from the fadeaway volley of Gala.
JDG unafraid. Keshi is on the backline, but he's got no one with him. Mazel.
Unstoppable onslaught coming through. They have the paranoia unleashed, but it's the anti-paranoia as it's Heru that finds an angle here. Keshi starting to show off some of this tank stat setup from TT. Heru, though, is the focus from HongQ, and HongQ's gotten really big. He's 2.5 items in now as well. He'll even shred some of the tankiness of Keshi there, but it is a tough tussle. Still, though, a little bit of a trade in the TT camp. Still a 9,000 gold lead for JDG.
Bit of a caster curse in lifetime there, Mazel. I said that there was no backup for the Scion when he initially got that flank ultimate, but Heru comes in from the top rope with the stolen paranoia and does manage to give some gold back to ThunderTalk, but it feels more like it is a delay at this point. JDG are still so far in the driver's seat, almost 9,000 gold ahead. And that Dragon Soul is fast approaching. About 2.5 minutes remain until that comes up. But it doesn't necessarily discount completely the idea that JDG could look to go for the Baron if they feel that the siege is the more important thing to grab up right now.
And I just wonder what the answer is going to be to the question of Dragon Soul for JDG. In about 2 minutes that TT is about to be asked. And very close. Gala's actually right on the precipice of getting 3rd item there for himself too. And these are some big power spikes coming through where you're still struggling to reach 2nd item there for on the Senna. You're still just now getting the 2nd item there for Heru. And still a little bit behind on Junhao. These leads starting to be felt by TT. But that's the thing about JDG, and that's some of the tenacity that we saw from them throughout the regular season, is the up and down nature of this team, and that sometimes they forget themselves a little bit. They get a little lost in the sauce, if you will, but when they're locked in, they can absolutely tussle with the best of them, and right now that's too much for TT.
When it comes to snowballing, I feel this team really is only second to BLG. This is the trait that has gotten them to 2nd seed in the spring regular season, because when they have a lead, when they have an early game in their control, they very, very rarely let it go. The games get out of control, and I think we're seeing that here for TT. They really have no response, no way, no surprises that they can put onto JDG Gaming, as this game is just fully ripped away from them. Dragon up in about 40 seconds. This would be Soul for JDG at 23 minutes, Mazel.
Yeah, I mean, compared to the last game as well, very tight. And the Dusk and Dawn, I love it from Xiaoxu as well. Just playing the hot hand with the popular item, new item there, and with the Shen setup and some of the shielding he's going to be able to provide there, some of the healing. But it's a very tough position to be in for TT as they get set up to move in for this fight. A Mountain Soul on this team comp would feel so difficult. And that means TT have to answer.
Keshi going in. He is relatively tanky.
Stand United is going to be used. That's going to be Xiaoxu coming in as well. Gets one on the Shadow Dash, and that's all they needed. JunJia barely escaping for now. Heru trying to run him down. The fear doesn't come through. JunJia does survive. Vampire's now the next target. Heru and Keshi are doing a wonderful job of picking apart this fight, but now it's Keshi who gets caught out. He tries to go forward. Gets one. Two-man decimating smash, and Keshi with the shield. He can't do it. He's all alone. The Titan Beast will fall, and that's a double kill for Xiaoxu, giving another one to Gala. And Xiaoxu is having the performance of a lifetime on his first Shin of the split.
I love to see it. Now JDG get an ace. They get the 10,000 gold lead, and the soul will be acquired at the same time. A good effort there from ThunderTalk. But like we said, all it took was one loss, and JDG have woken up from their slumber. They have locked in, and when they're locked in, you cannot count them out.
Take a look at this fight. I mean, I will give it to them. The Sololators tried their damnedest from TT here, but JunJia barely scraping out there. You didn't want to get feared. Like, you can't continue to chase that, or you're just going to get feared away and killed.
You are, and then Keshi, I really thought he was going to be in a position to get some, like, satisfying double kill montage-esque thing right here, but gets caught by the gravity field from HongQ, stops his advance completely, and then he just gets kited by the remaining members of JDG. Soul acquired as we go back to live, and I feel like Baron is the next thing logically on the cards, and one pick should be the difference between them just being able to rip it right off.
And that's going to be something to think about in these next few moments, and how JDG want to close this game out and move themselves to match point in their first series of the playoffs. As they move into the enemy jungle again, yeah, Gala's just going to start it up. He's on 3.5 items now, has that IE completed, and this thing is going to burn, baby, burn. No responses from TP coming out now. Maybe they want to try to fight for it. It's a desperation play if they do, but Paranoia's pop. Stand United goes in. He gets the double taunt here coming through potentially, but the Shadow Dash doesn't come through just yet. They get CC'd 100-0. Here goes the backline access for Xiaoxu, but they go back on the other side of the fight. Heru's looking for backline himself. It's some of the tankiness really come through, but HongQ has just been untouched this entire time, and the Arcane Storm is ticking. It's not going to grow anymore, but HongQ wants more. He wants more. He's going to flash for the play. Gets a double kill there too, and now he's going to try to chase down Keshi, who is just too damn tanky to try to gate down. But it's HongQ who stands tall, and somebody we haven't really talked about who's 8-0 on this victor.
HongQ having a really good performance on the pick, but ThunderTalk crucially deny the Baron from JDG and get what almost feels like an even fight for themselves. I mean, they went 3 for 3 in that exchange, or 3 for 4 actually, in that exchange. And when you're this far behind, that isn't a total loss. Getting gold and kills over 2 members on your team really just kind of means the world at this point. And it just felt like the re-engage from the other members of JDG after the paranoia comes through by JunJia wasn't sufficient. Heru gets a nice flank onto Gala here. The positioning was nice, and with a little bit more gold, maybe they could have turned this fight around and subsequently turned this game around, but JDG are just too far ahead. HongQ flashes over to make the play more in their favor. And regardless of how you feel about ThunderTalk and you know, biting back 25 minutes into this game, the fact remains they are still 10 bands down compared to JDG. Kill coming through here from Junhao.
Oh, yeah, that was a huge pickup there on the Junhao now as well, and they're going to try to follow it up. It was 1,000 gold that went to Junhao in the end, but it is Gala who's starting to kick him in the teeth here with the attack speed that he's able to get. They could still force the Baron. There is no smite, no top laner there, and that is JDG just forcing the play.
Heru really has nothing to threaten them with. So they're going to try on Feather. Feather crucially still has ultimate, so if JDG try and pull the trigger, there is the encore there to try and disengage the fight, but I don't think there's going to be a fight to be had. They just need to finish the Baron.
It's so low. Oh my god. Encore went through. JunJia keeps the Baron focus, and Heru overextends and dies. Baron going over at 27 minutes, 47 seconds to JDG.
All right, now expedience is the name of the game. JDG have the soul, they've got the Baron, they've got the tools to end this game right here, Lennon, and I don't think they want to test the waters with an Elder. Elder fights are nice, but I think for how decisively they have played this game, they would rather not chance it with a potential even 1 in a million steal from Junhao to turn this game around. So really looking at these next couple of minutes, these next 90 seconds or so to knock down these tier 2s and really squeeze their grip around the necks of TT.
Yeah, this is the difference between average teams and great teams, is how they close out games with leads. We've seen that be troublesome for a lot of teams in the LPL this split. JDG doing a good job of spreading the wealth here across mid and bot lane, keeping so much pressure on TT and forcing them to find answers. About a minute away from that Elder Dragon spawning, and we are at 4 items plus for the carries of JDG.
JDG don't necessarily have to stop their advance with the Baron in order to go for the Elder. There's nothing that TT can really do to force them from stopping the siege. They don't have the greatest wave clear as this comp, so I think as long as you've got the Baron buff, it gives you the power to just keep on pushing forward. Though TT are looking for something onto Gala.
Okay, Encore going through. The teammate does get extended, but it doesn't do much, and Junhao's already dead, and now the Arcane Storm is starting to grow. We've seen time and time again, HongQ just continues to grow this storm that is JDG. They have awoken, and the great beast roars to life. Heru gonna get chased down by Xiaoxu, and that's just the end of game number 3.
And that's a big Arcane Storm, and ThunderTalk are getting jealous. There is a storm of their own brewing in game number 1, but HongQ will wipe that away with the Victor ultimate, and JDG will take us to series point.
As incredible stuff from JDG, waking up in the moment, waking up in the series. And going back to some bread and butter here for them and how they play the map, how they play the game, I got to give huge shout outs to HongQ in the mid lane for that one. I know there was so much glitz and glam elsewhere, but if you look back to so many of those fights, he is just standing there delivering for the team time and time again. And I think it's so impressive how JDG were able to dictate the pace of this game, the dragon control they've had over the last 2 games, and how they continue to push the mold against TT.
And TT, you know, the question of us talking about them running out of gas, how much fuel did they have left in the tank after that game 1 victory? It felt like they were completely running on empty in game number 3 there. Mazel, from the draft, right from the get-go, it felt like the atmosphere of the match was different. There were less chances for ThunderTalk to fight, less chances for them to skirmish. They still took every opportunity they could find, but their comp was so much weaker in the fight department that every single time JDG would just wipe the floor with them.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to the individual execution we were able to see as well. And I got to give huge props to Xiaoxu on the Shen. He might be the MVP for me. It's between him and HongQ at this point. He had so many clutch stand uniteds into shadow dashes and got a little wonky in a couple of those last plays as well. Not really able to time it up exactly how they wanted to, but the thing that built their lead was those plays, and that's all that really mattered in the end.
The Stand United security, I think, just enabled JunJia to be an absolute psycho. You know, the way that he loves to play League of Legends, and his top laner was there to back him up at every single turn. So really good confluence of ultimates, really good engage tools being drafted up there by JDG to just get every fight started on their own terms with a numbers advantage and with the snap engage that has propelled them so far forward in the standings of split number 2. This is the style that they like to play: quick, concise, clean, and extremely aggressive in the first 15 minutes, and that is exactly what we saw in game number 3.
How many more cards is Tabe going to throw at his players to make them play better? I don't know. I guess we're going to find out. But yeah, I just struggle now to see the light at the end of the tunnel, at least in this series in particular for TT. They still have a second life, so it's not like it's the end of the playoffs run for them and their story. But it's something where the answers are just not appearing for them, and things that have worked in this little run of theirs that they've started aren't working now in the last couple games, and wondering what they do moving forward at least.
And this is just a concern that we have for a lot of former Nirvana teams, is where you have less experience playing the best of threes. You generally have less games than your Ascent counterparts. And then on top of that, you have not had a game go past 3 matches in the entire year as TT. This game 4 will be their first game 4 of all of 2026, and we are 5 months into the year, by the way, almost 6 months into the year. So now I think this is uncharted territory. These are uncharted waters that TT are about to step into for game number 4, and we're already starting to see maybe some draft difficulties come through from them. I think Senna really isn't kind of the style that we're used to seeing from TT, certainly not the style that has brought them success in the past. So if you're struggling with drafts in game number 3, you really got to find something in game 4 that clicks, or it's just going to get worse from here.
Yeah, or it's just lights out, pun intended, with the Nocturne. I guess he can't use it again, but in the same vein, it's still a nice, refreshing take from JDG to see that, you know, the buy from play-ins didn't, you know, long-term affect them. They are still this efficient team when they do get the ground running. I think that's where those early focuses were so prevalent and we talked about so heavily. And it started with these kinds of moments. It started with some crazy team-focused play from JDG and just continued to rain hell on TT.
And really, Xiaoxu, again, the big enabler for that team play. Having the stand united gave you so much more safety as the Nocturne to look for picks, to look for plays like this, knowing that even if the shield, even if the Shen gets like canceled on his channel, you still have the shield. You still have a buffer to play with, and I feel like that just allowed the Nocturne to play with so much more confidence in this game, so much more survivability as well. I mean, look at plays like this where any normal, sane person would think, oh, Nocturne is totally dead here. Nope. Wild growth, stand united, fancy feet from JunJia, or whatever Nocturne has to move around, and he manages to get out. So
fancy wisps.
Wisps, like, he floats. And was floating around all the members of ThunderTalk in game number 3.
Yeah.
So really cleanly executed match here for JDG, and a return to what we, I think, expected going into this series, Mazel.
Yeah. And for me, I just want to be a little bit more introspective in the draft itself as well, because this is some honing of the weapon, right? Like, Nocturne has been a staple for JunJia so far this regular season, and the Shen, first time we've seen it from Xiaoxu on the split. But we were in draft sitting there with the first 3 picks. We're like, okay, I see some of the bones, but it's weird because there's no real follow-up and continuation with JunJia. It's a little bit standoffish. The Shen is just the perfect combination to tie all of it together. And you have the sustained damage from the Victor, and obviously HongQ got super big, but the structure of the comp is just so efficient and so nice, and that's one of those draft masterclasses that I love to see.
Top A def. What can I say? This is one of the big commodities that JDG have for the year, and they are really making it worth it with these crazy picks like the Shen. Xiaoxu has been the guinea pig for a lot of these just wild draft choices from Coach Tabe, and he has taken every single one in stride. All of the champions that you would consider to be unusual and given over to Xiaoxu, he's won every single game with them. So continue to be weird, my friend. Just like give this man whatever the hell you want, because it seems to be working every time you do.
16 unique champions played. Why not add a 17th? There's a lot to choose from there. But think
It's
about
top lane.
MVP.
You can play anything.
Yeah. Think about MVP. Who do you got to give it to?
Oh, I mean, listen, I think HongQ was the big standout, but I feel just for the sake of variety. All right, never mind.
It's mid lane. We're just in mid lane.
I was gonna say Xiaoxu, but nope. Dude, it's HongQ for the second game in a row. He has
like the same stats as last game. He had 90% KP. He had 33 damage.
He fell off.
He had 260 damage /gold. The like damage to gold percentage. Man, crazy couple of performances from HongQ, and a further continuation that we wanted to highlight was the mid-jungle combos. But this time we're leaning a little bit more on HongQ as well. I know we were talking about some of the setup tools, the volleyball with the mid-jungle duos, but it's truly impressive to see HongQ's consistent performances so far in the last 2 games. That is it, though, from us for game number 3. We will be going to TT's first game 4 and JDG's potential ending of the series after this break.